Hello and welcome to the E14 Toybox. I'm Rob and thank you as always for joining me on this video. So I've let my fiance choose the boosters for today's unboxing, so gave her access to the full selection. Obviously the bricks are off limits because they're going to be used in later booster battles, but apart from that it was fair game, so I told her to pick two. She has chosen, so for today's unboxing it will be Mighty Thor. And just to be clear, two Mighty Thors. So, I've had a look at the set just to kind of give myself an idea of what to expect. I think I mentioned in the channel update that the UK has had some serious stock problems with Mighty Thor, to the point where I can get a starter set. It takes a while, and these are the only boosters I've been able to get hold of. So, yeah, I'm not sure what the issue is with the stock this time around. Historically, it's been late, but fine. All the other sets in my local sort of stockist, Forbidden Planet in London, have got, you know, plenty of stock on the shelves. So I don't know what's different about Mighty Thor. Maybe they just didn't make enough, or maybe they just didn't ship enough. But either way, I've had a look at the set, and I picked out a few that I like the look of. So there's a common Spider-Man that's beautiful. Loki, Agent of Asgard's pretty cool. Odin the Destroyer looks amazing. And Chase Wise, the female Loki, has a really nice dial. So any of those I'm going to be happy with. But ultimately, as always, I'm going to be opening some clicks, and I'm always happy about that. So let's begin. So I've done the preamble, scissoring, removal of the sellotape as far as I've gone. So let's see what we have in number one. Right. So I see an item. I forgot about items. Forgot all about those. Right, let's see what we have inside this pack. So, we have, I'll pop them out one by one. Drop them on the floor. I'll drop them on the floor. Oh, they're nice loose dials. So far, so good. I like that. Oh, lovely loose dials. So far, they're all on the easier side. I like that a lot. One of the worst things, especially when you're playing a game in a warm place, your hands get sweaty, you're trying to click it round, and it's just not happening. So these are all lovely and loose, and I'm so thrilled about that I should get out more. But then maybe I shouldn't, because, you know, I can't play Heroclix as easily outside. Right, so first one is a common Loki. Lovely. Okay. I'll hold the camera card in view. Look there. Dial on the back. Alright, let's talk it through. So, for an extra 10 points, during force construction, you may add 2 of these to your starting force on the click 1 that appears after the KO, which is orange. So, that's click number... Click number 1. He's got 2. Has he got 2 dials? Yeah, he's got 2 dials. Okay. So the 0 point value for all effects. Illusional reality. Loki starts the game on the click 1 after the blue KO. That's click 1 round here. Until an effect needs to know, you don't have to reveal the point value of a 0-2 Loki. Okay. Not quite sure. I'm guessing you can choose which one's real, but you have to pick it and keep to it. That makes sense. It has a stop click on his defense, which I'll come to. So, he has phasing teleport followed by sidestep on his movement, like so. And then he has that incapacitate. Yeah, incapacitate followed by penetrating psychic blast on his attack dial, and then super senses and invulnerability on his defense dial, but in the middle he's got a stop click. So stop click reads invulnerability. Each time this click is revealed, KO all other friendly 0-2 Lokis. So, okay, you can remove them off the board once you hit there, but you get invulnerability as a plus, so that's good. And then on his damage dial, so his damage dial looks like this. 2 stop clicks followed, 2 box out rather, followed by outwit. The box out reads, shape change. When Loki uses it and succeeds, after resolutions, you may regenerate within range and line of fire a 0/2 Loki on the click 1 that appears after the KO. They have a 0-point value for all effects, including scoring. Okay, so you can actually bring them in, I guess, from off screen. That makes sense. Off screen. Off map. That makes sense, I guess. Not quite 100% clear on the wording of that. I'm sure there's forum posts on HC Realms or something that can give me a better idea. So, next. Hatut Zeraze. He's from Wakanda. That is a rather gorgeous piece. That's like a Black Panther character. I'm guessing he's related to Black Panther in some way because he looks almost identical except white. His costume. So his doll looks a bit like this. His card rather. Then doll looks like that. So he has a box out on his movement. So sidestep and stealth. He can ignore not hindering elevated terrain for the purposes of movement, but only to move to a lower elevation. So he can drop down without having to use the stairs. And then he's got a defense box out, which is toughness, impervious, but only when targeted by range. So he's got toughness anyway, and then if somebody targets him with range, he also gains impervious. Or he replaces it with impervious, I guess, because you probably couldn't have both. Running shot at the end of his dial, and then range combat expert on his first half. 50 points. Probably should have mentioned Loki's pointage. It is 65, so you can build a relatively good force with these two so far. 115. So let's go to the next one next. Makes sense. Alright. So, Eric Masterson. Front. There we go. Lovely. So, his dial looks like this. 15 points, not terrible. He has a trait. When Eric Masterson would be KO'd by an opponent's attack, you may either choose to replace him with E14 Thor or E62 Thunderstrike. If you do, roll a d6 and increase the result by the damage dealt to Eric Masterson. The replacement character begins on click 1, but then is immediately dealt that amount of damage as unavoidable damage. Crikey. Okay. So if he's taken 4 damage, the damage dealt that would KO him. So if he's taken 4 damage and he's only got 1 click of health left, I guess you take 3 immediately plus the d6. And then he has a attack box out, perplex as power, and may only target a friendly character of 75 or more points within 3 squares. Willpower on his defense, and empower as his damage all the way through. So he's pretty useful he's a buffer, and he can also, if you have the right pieces, he can pop into your force quite handily. Next. Hogan. He's an uncommon. Go, like that. Nice sculpt. His power card looks like that on the front. And that on the back. Dial running through there. 2-point values, 90 and 60. So he starts with the knobbed mace equipped. So that's in the box with him. Like that. Knobbed mace. What does the knobbed mace do? It's 3 points. When this character hits an opposing character with a close attack, modify the hit character's attack -2 until your next turn. Okay, so it's got some abilities on the back. I will show you those briefly. Looks like that on the front. Considered a heavy object, quite understandably. So he begins with that equipped to him. Charge. When Hogan uses it and hits an opposing character after resolutions, each friendly character with the Asgardian keyword adjacent to him at the start of the action can use charge as free this turn. Well, that's pretty cool. So he drives people into using charge if they've got it. Although I assume they probably can just use it as a free action, so they don't have to have it, maybe. Who knows? I should know. That probably is true. Probably don't need to have charge on your dial to be able to use it. So here we go. Right, so next, there we go. So he starts off with his 4, and then he moves on to charge. No attack powers to speak of. Invulnerability for his first half of his first part of his dial, and then toughness for the rest. And then no damage powers to speak of whatsoever. So I think he looks pretty good actually. His last click's pretty nice. He's got 9 movement with charge, 11 attack, 18 defense with toughness, and 4 damage. So he can really do some damage on the last one. So on the back of his comic, and the comic that he's depicted in on his card, he is depicted alongside, among others, a little bit bent. This sword there has been caught. I think maybe that's deliberate. Volstagg. He's a pretty hefty piece. I don't know if he prefers that terminology, but to hell with it. He's made of plastic. He's not real anyway. There we go, there's the card. Then the other side of the card, like so. Ready. So he has, on his first 4 clicks, he has charge and plasticity as a box out. When Volstagg uses charge and hits an opposing character, after resolutions, each friendly character with the adjacent Asgardian keyword adjacent at the start of the action can't take more than 1 damage from an attack until your next turn. Wow, so again, he's the Warriors 3, along with Hogan and another one who I don't have in here, so I can't say for sure. Then he moves on to Force Blast, starts with Quake on his attack and then nothing throughout the rest. 19, bloody hell, he starts off with 19 defense. With Impervious, and then he moves to Invulnerability, Toughness, and then back up to Invulnerability and Impervious, and no damage powers to speak of. So 90 and 60 points, he is hefty, just both in stature and power and usefulness, especially if you put him in that Warriors 3 with Hogan and the other dude whose name I don't know. Sorry, Thor fans. I like it fine. Alright, so that's part 1. So here's number 2. Oh, crikey. Another item of some sort. Let's start with the most common. First one is a Warrior of Asgard. And the camera plays nice. Lovely. So he is a soldier piece, 40 points. Various, obviously. Nice sculpt though. Little sword's a little bit bent out of shape just because of the storage, I guess. Not a bad dial for 40 points. Blades claws all the way through. So, he's got charge on his first 2 clicks, and then nothing, and then Blades claws all the way through his dial. Toughness on 3 of his 4 clicks, and then no damage powers to speak of. Nonetheless, as a 40-point soldier, not bad. Just for having Blades claws is always nice, especially now that they've changed it in the rules and made it even more powerful. Which I'm not a massive fan of the new Blades claws, mainly because it's so much fun. Even if you're on the receiving end of it, that's that moment of, oh man, I rolled for I had a 3 damage, I went for it and I got 1. Damn. It's like, it's a little bit safer now to play Blades claws, which is fine. I can understand why, but for me, I just really quite like the risk of it. Anyway, that's enough about me talking about my pet peeves. Next, one of the Stone Men of Saturn. Lovely sculpt on that. Really nice. He is a big bastard. 100 points or 20. So he has 2 point values to choose from. Go, and then there we go. Alright. So, trait. Stone is strung together. Modify an attack and defense +1 for each adjacent friendly character named Stone Men of Saturn. When Stone Men of Saturn has no action tokens and an adjacent friendly character named Stone Men of Saturn is given a move action, Stone Men of Saturn can use Sidestep. So, okay. So anytime a Stone Man of Saturn moves, another one can use Sidestep, even though he doesn't have it, and +1 attack and defense for adjacent friendly Stone Men of Saturn. That makes sense. They're made of stone. You'd think they'd work together. So 2 clicks of charge, followed by nothing. No attack powers to speak of. Invulnerability, followed by toughness on the defense and close combat expert, followed by empower on the damage dial. So, you know, once again, not, you know, insignificant in and of themselves. Even the last couple of clicks where it's just toughness and empower is still, you know, not too shabby. If you put a few of those together, maybe some mix of higher point and lower point ones, that could work quite well. You know, one's empower the other. Plus they're all traded, so there's that. Next, one of the higher point characters in this video so far is Thena. She is a rather nice sculpt. The arm's looks a little precarious, but otherwise a rather nice piece. This is the card, like so. And the dial. Like that. 6 clicks of health for 125 points. You better be spectacular. So let's find out. So, free action as a trait. Until your next turn, Thena can't use the Power Cosmic Team ability, but can use Perplex and Willpower. When she uses Perplex and targets herself, modify her combat value +2 instead. Okay, that's pretty cool. So she can swap her Power Cosmic for Perplex and Willpower, and she can use Perplex to bump herself up even more than she already would be. So next, on her movement dial, she's got nothing but standard powers, which would be Running Shot, Phasing Teleport, Charge, and then more Phasing Teleport. Then in her attack, she's got 2 clicks of Penetrating Psychic Blast, followed by 4 of a Box Out, which is whenever Thena hits with an attack, after resolutions, give the target an action token. If you can't, deal it 1 penetrating damage. Crikey. So she basically has an Incapacitate built in with penetrating damage instead. Defense, 2 clicks of Invincible, 2 clicks of Invulnerability, 2 clicks of the following Box Out, Regeneration and Toughness. Complete molecular control. And then on her damage dial, 2 clicks of nothing, 2 clicks of Exploit Weakness, and 2 clicks of nothing again. She's pretty nifty. I would quite like to use her in the game and see how she gets on. So maybe I will. Next, we have a piece from the Defenders. Rather nice sculpt, actually, I must say. Valkyrie. I like the, you know, traditional looking outfit. It's pretty cool. She's got a trait here. That. Okay, so no box outs to speak of, but she has a trait, long history of being manipulated. Friendly characters can use their mind control to target Valkyrie. If they do, and the character is named Enchantress or Lorelei, and if Valkyrie is hit, modify her combat values +1 until her next turn. So Enchantress and Lorelei can basically buff her up significantly. So she has Charge for 2 clicks, Sidestep for 2, and then a blank click. 2 clicks of Blade's Claws, and then nothing. And then 2 clicks of Toughness, followed by 2 clicks of Combat Reflexes. And then no damage powers to speak of. She's 35 points, so she's relatively cheap and not terribly without her uses. Again, 2 clicks of Blade's Claws at the beginning of a game can be pretty fun. Particularly as her damage on those is 2. So you, again, as I mentioned, with the Blade's Claws change in the rules, it makes it slightly less of a risk to do the Blade's Claws Fangs whole thing. Now, finally, this is one that I should be happy about, but ultimately, for reasons I'll explain, I have mixed feelings on this. Throg. Now, the positives. That sculpt is hilarious and amazing. Get that in there. So, that is amazing. However, I have a phobia. In this case, frogs and toads. So I'm not thoroughly wild about the whole thing of having a frog click anyway. But however, he does come with some cool abilities, which I will show you on the card here. Fine. Alright, so he starts the game with Frogyolnir equipped, which is this item here. Then back. 5-point item. So, Throg has 1 box out power to speak of, which is on his damage for the first 2 clicks. Perplex. When Throg uses it to target a character with the animal or pet Avengers keyword, he may modify a combat value except damage +2 instead. So apart from damage, he can modify any combat value +2 for a pet Avenger or an animal. That's pretty cool. So he has sidestep and leap climb interspersed among his dial on movement. Energy explosion on clicks 2 and 3, otherwise it's blank. 3 clicks of toughness followed by combat reflexes, and then 2 clicks of his box out, a blank one, and then close combat expert for the last 2. So his real name is Simon. So it's not that I don't like you, Simon. It is just that I have a phobia of frogs in general. You will probably stay in my collection nonetheless because you are very obviously not a real frog. They're a lot bigger and not made of plastic. They're made of horrendous things and suffering. Anyway, that is the Mighty Thor boosters that I have obtained. They may be the only ones I ever get. We shall see. I'll keep an eye out for cheap ones, as I often do. But nonetheless, thank you for watching the E14 Toybox Mighty Thor. I have to do pick of the polls. I forgot all about that. It's so long since I've done one of these unboxings. It's all gone pear-shaped. So Athena would be a good pick. Let's say about the Volstags. Volstag's pretty cool. I might have to go for... Might have to pick Volstagg. Volstag's probably my pick. Just because, although he's... I don't think he's the rarest one I've pulled here. Or at least he's not especially rare. But I remember reading his card and being quite pleased with the abilities he possesses. Let me re-familiarise myself with what I liked. Oh yeah, it's the combat values. That's it. So defense of 19 at the beginning and end of his dial. 18, 18's in most of it. So between the apart from the 2 clicks of toughness of 17, he's got nothing but 18s and 19s with invulnerability and invincible. Plus, although he doesn't move very fast, when he does hit, he hits pretty hard. Plus, he's got the whole force blast thing going on, the quake, the charge and plasticity. Always handy to have plasticity when characters use HyperSonic and things like that. I'm a big fan of using HyperSonic, so I like to have teams sometimes that prepare against it because I know it's quite fun to use. But I digress. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.